Okay, the time is 6 o'clock, and that begins what month are we in? February 11th, school board meeting for Grand Falls School District. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
See if our board rep wants to come up.
Thank you. And then I will hand it over to Dr. Geisler for our land acknowledgement.
I actually have Executive Director Moore with us.
Okay. Executive Director Moore.
Good evening. We honor the First Peoples of these lands by acknowledging that the area in which we gather is within the traditional territory of the Stillaguamish tribe of Indians. The Stillaguamish people have inhabited these lands and waters since time immemorial, and their descendants have remained in this territory to this day. The Stillaguamish people have continued to practice the traditional ways of their ancestors by fishing, hunting, and gathering. The Stillaguamish tribe has had these lands and cultural traditions passed on to them by their ancestors who believed that everything has a spirit and that they are caretakers of these lands and waters.
Thank you. Okay, tonight we have in attendance Violet.
Yes.
Sorry, yeah, Violet. We have Director Panagas, we have Director Farley, Director Veach, Director Dane, myself, Director Ledoux, and Dr. Geisler. Okay, then moving to 3A board comments. Violet, I'll come to you at the end again if you think of anything along the way. Director Panagas, any comments?
Well, I'm pleased that I'm now feeding my dog biscuits from that our students are making. And anyway, I just wanted to shout out to Aileen about that. And then the posts, I appreciate the posts highlighting staff, because I learned from that too, because I don't know that, all of the staff, and I just really appreciate seeing that. And it's been fun seeing the CTE highlights, Josh. I really enjoyed that. And Emily, I wanted to compliment you that with the highly capable, that we now have the universal screening as well as nominations. And I was just tickled pink to see that.
Thank you.
And that's my comments.
Thank you very much. Farley?
I enjoyed last Saturday. I got to go watch the kids wrestle at South Woodby High School. They're going to have 8 kids participating in the state tournament, which is really good numbers. It's a little bit different situation this year, but I was really proud of the kids and how they handled themselves, and it was awesome to see.
Appreciate it. Director Veach?
I just wanted to say thank you to our community. It looks as though our levy vote from yesterday, that it looks like that will pass. So thank you to the community and to all those that voted to support Granite Falls, and the operations and technology levies both appear to be able to pass. So just wanted to say thank you for that. And I know that there's been a lot that's been going on, but we've had some medical stuff going on at home, so I haven't been as plugged in the last week as I have been otherwise. So I just wanted I did get my ballot in the box. I remembered that part. So I think I'm going to defer the remainder of the time, because I really have been at home the last week-ish taking care of some family stuff.
Yeah, thank you. Director Dane?
Okay, well, I want to parrot Director Veach's appreciation for the community. And I really do want to say thank you to all of the community members that participated in the conversation regarding the levy, what the levy pays for, and how important it was for this district as a whole and the community to move forward and pass those. Also, want to just make a little comment about the student walkout information stuff that went on the other day. there was some comments made about the school board or the school district promoting that. And I think that our administration were very transparent to the community to come out and say that we did not support, but we would do everything we could to protect our students and their voices, their rights to do what they did. And I applaud the students that went out and were, I think, good communicators to what their cause was, what their belief is. I also think it's great learning opportunity for them to get involved with the political process at their age. Many of those students out there are going to be or are currently voters, and they were out making sure they expressed their opinion. And I support everybody being able to do that.
Yeah, I mean, going back on the levy stuff, for me, it's primarily right. It's vote one way, vote another, but vote, right? I really appreciated the engagement. The last time we were running a levy, I just joined the board. So it was like, I was just kind of jumping in and seeing what was going on. But the amount of engagement this time around, there were really good conversations that I was seeing happen on discussion boards, actual genuine questions coming out about what does this mean? Anybody that's actually dove into taxes and how they all work and everything, they're not easy. They're difficult to understand on the per thousand. What does it mean with growth and all this stuff? So I really appreciated the discussion that was back and forth, because that's anybody that's heard me on this board for the past 4 years knows that is what I primarily advocate for, is discussion, right? We don't have to agree with each other on everything, but we need to have a discourse that shares our thoughts, beliefs, whatever, respectfully, and just hear one another. And honestly, listen to one another and what's good, what's bad, why you believe one thing, one way or the other. We just need to understand how each other got to their certain beliefs and what they feel. So I really appreciated the engagement on that side. And just the constant reminder too, that the only way to engage with, or the levy is not the only way to engage with the school district, right? There's so many different ways to come out to volunteer for things, to help within, just to help at, events or fundraisers. The best thing I say is, if you don't know how to help, ask, right? If you don't know where to start, and your kid's at Mountain Way or Monte Cristo or the high school or the middle school or Crossroads, right? Go in to the office one day and just say like, hey, I'd like to help. Like, what sort of opportunities are there? How can I get more engaged and involved and understand? So, there's always room for engagement. So I'd welcome that a lot. And with that being said, Violet, anything from your side?
Well, everyone's been working very hard to set up the BOTC because it's coming up soon. So
I saw the hats.
Yeah. Like early practices for the freshmen, we've been like doing our own flag football thing for Proud Pup. And the hallways, I'm assuming that's why most of the people aren't here for the high school, because they're working on the hallways. So that's really good to see the engagement on that.
Appreciate it. Okay, item 3B, superintendent report presented by Dr. Geisling.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Put that up there. Thank you, Dan. If you go to that next slide. Perfect. A quick safety and security update. One of the things we're looking at is our district camera coverage. One of the things we shared out in preparing for running the levy was how many active cameras we had, because that's one of the things the last levy purchased was several cameras for around the district. So we have 203 active cameras across the district. Excuse me. There's some additional cameras that are inactive, and we want to find out what needs to happen with those. And when I say we, Marshall and Dan are really working collectively on this and review them and say if a camera was put there, it's put there for a purpose, and we would think that we would have footage from it. So reviewing all of that and the locations and what their names, so that makes sense when we go to see camera footage, like when we had the AED stolen gosh, it would have been nice to know, do we have a camera pointing that direction, or is there somewhere that, could have seen that? And then just frame that up a little bit better. And then if there's more cameras that need to be purchased or some blank spots that we really want to have camera coverage. So really just globally looking at is 203 enough, or is there more camera coverage needed? And then what's wrong with the cameras that aren't working and aren't giving us data right now. So that's just one small thing that we're doing around safety and security. We'll continue to review that, and we continue to do updates as we go. We've put in several new cameras this year, a few at transportation, when we also put in the lighting, and a few other spots that we've had some issues, but we'll continue to look at that. Next slide. District and community events. As we have said, thank you to our voters. An investment in public education is, I think, one of the best investments you can make. Strong schools make strong communities, all of those things. And so, of course, Proposition 1, helps maintain staffing as long as we maintain student FTE, funds athletics and clubs and all the extracurricular things our kids get to engage in. And then some of the day-to-day operation things, transportation and utilities and insurance. And then Proposition 2 does some really critical deferred maintenance that we have, HVAC systems in every building, safe and comfortable schools for our kids and for our staff, some technology infrastructure things, and lighting and facility improvement cameras, as the case may be, and some athletic spaces. We have a community group that's going to come together. Tom Fitzgerald has offered to chair that community group, and he happens to be sitting with us today. He's not making eye contact right now, so I think he's like, oh, here it comes, right? You didn't know what you're signing up for, my friend. But we welcome people to be a part of that. We'll figure out the structure of that. But these spaces that we improve and putting in some turf and some lighting in these community fields, we want to know what's going to work for the community and what the needs are in the community. So that's a group of the community coming together and deciding that, and we'll figure out how much of what's the dollar amount, and then how do we work within that. So that's pretty exciting to make spaces that are safe for our kids to practice and play on, and that are right here in Granite, so they don't have to travel so far. So really excited about that. And we had an update at about 4:30 today. I think it was about 4:30 with Snohomish County. And again, like you said, Peter, both levies are passing at about 55%. So thank you to our community for that incredible support. And I just have to say thank you to everyone who ran such an incredible levy campaign in support of that. We really appreciate it. And then Washington State is reviewing the learning standards. We've talked about this a number of times. We thought we wanted to put it in front of you, and I'm going to let Executive Director Moore talk about this a little bit more. But there's learning standards that we teach to. Basically, everything that we do in the classroom each and every day is tied to learning standards in Washington State. I remember when I was a teacher, and I would think, gosh, what standard is this attached to? And constantly making that reference. And then the curriculums and the materials that we use in our classrooms and buildings are tied to those standards as well. And so OSPI is doing a review of these standards. And I wanted to put it in front of the board so you can get a look at this. They have some nice graphics there and where they are in the continuum. But I'll turn it over to Executive Director Moore to talk a little bit more about this.
Yeah, so I thank you so much and good evening. Lovely to be here with you this evening. I will add my notes for what I'm going to say later. So just so you know, I think this is a really wonderful graphic that really outlines the kind of seasons of the work. It is very common for us to upgrade our standards, roughly every 6 to 10 years, because as we all know, our information changes, innovation changes. And I really want us to think about these learning standards kind of like that manual that you get with some assembly required. This really provides a springboard or a foundational space for our teachers to land around what's expected that students are learning every day. And that this creates cohesive instruction for teachers. What's really exciting about this, and you can maybe dig in a little bit later on the different hieroglyphics that are up there, but basically this is outlining the idea of reviewing standards, updating standards with teacher input across the state, adopting those standards and then educating teachers on how to use them and then putting them into practice. And it's really important that we're always coming back around and reflecting on our standards to make sure that they're the most accurate and that they're equipping our students here in Granite Falls and across Washington State and really honestly across this great nation for what our students need to be learning to make them college and career ready and citizens of this nation and this world. The work that we're doing here at Granite Falls School District that aligns to this is when I talk about those secondary content teams, our math teams are coming together, social studies, science, and ELA coming together to focus our work on how the standards align to what our students are learning every single day, and how we're making certain that we're providing that arc of learning and teaching that you've heard me talk about, so that a student in ninth grade in Emily Moore's classroom gets roughly the same plan as Carol Panegas in Dr. Gieslin's classroom. So that is the true work of equity for us, that we make certain that our students have that arc of teaching and learning. So this is really exciting. And we try to make certain that our curricular materials, both adopted and supplemental, are matching the Washington State Learning. So I'm happy to talk with you more about this at a later time if you have any questions about this graphic, but that is the work that we are doing currently across our system.
Thank you.
So Emily, our plan is to kind of same timeline then? Perfect, okay.
Yes, in terms of adoption, and what we really don't want to do, and my glasses are not designed for this, but we've already had a beginning or the start of a conversation around science curriculum. We really want to make certain that our Washington State learning standards, thank you for pointing your arrow to that our Washington State learning standards are done before we purchase the curriculum, so that everything is aligned, right? That's kind of like purchasing the car, but you didn't get the tires. You know what I mean? If you buy the curriculum and it's not aligned to standard, then our Washington State science test, our WCAS test, is going to be aligned to this. But if our curriculum isn't aligned, then we're teaching kids maybe not necessarily in kind of right down the middle, in between the ditches, so to speak. So we want to be really careful, and our adoption calendar should look very similar to something like this. Though adoption, as you know, is very, very expensive, which is why we want to make certain that we're purchasing the right materials, because they might be 20-year materials instead of 10-year materials. And adoption vendors want us to adopt every 5 years, but that's not fiscally feasible, right? So.
All right. And then our next slide, Violet, I'm going to put you on the spot. Can you talk to us? Turn around right behind you. Can you talk us through the Battle of the Classes week at Granite Falls High School?
Yeah, so basically, Battle of the Classes, we decorate the hallways for some points. We do sports for some points, matcha volleyball for the guys, powder puff football for the girls. And we want the crowd cheering. That also gives us some points. So it's just a whole bunch of things that give us points. And at the end, we'll combine all of those points from winning or losing. And we'll see what class has the most amount of points out of all of them. And it's a really fun thing. And I'm happy that people have been really involved this year.
Very good. And then the main event is on February 28th at 6:00. If you can make it, it's super fun. I've gone the last 2 years. I think I've had a judge the last 2 years too, but our kids are incredible, of course. So please join us on February 28th. That's a Saturday at 6:00 at the high school. It's open to everyone. So, all right. I think that's it.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, comments? Yeah, okay. Item 3C, CTE month presentation by Jospa and Jensen.
Well, good evening. Thanks for letting me come and share again with the board. Thanks everybody else for being here. This is a chance for us to talk about CTE month and talk about what is going on with CTE in the Granite Falls School District. I presented in the start of the year with the previous board, kind of give an update on where things are at my first year running CTE for the district. And this is a chance to talk about the good stuff happening and give a little update on some of the things that we have been focusing on through this year and some areas that we will be focusing on in the foreseeable future as well, just kind of ongoing areas of focus. So next slide there. what is CTE Month? So CTE Month is a national public awareness campaign that's hosted by the ACTE, which is the Association of Career and Technical Education. It's sponsored by the National Association of Home Builders. So the connection back to industry in this highlight reel is significant. The focus of this month is celebrating CTE in our district. As workforce needs change and shift, it's CTE programs on a local level that are providing foundational skills to students in day-to-day classroom interaction. So what we're doing in CTE and what we're trying to make sure we are doing well and raising standards is very important for our students as they transition from school into workforce. So this month we're celebrating and focusing on teachers and programs that provide our students with real-world experience and career and technical training in its wide variety within our district. Next slide there. So some general CTE highlights from kind of big picture. We have really strong enrollment across all of our programs. So what we're seeing across our CTE programs is we're seeing full classes and kids staying in classes, which has not always been the case with our CTE enrollment. We've seen pretty wild swings in students, numbers starting high and then drifting off throughout the semester, throughout the year. So we're seeing really good engagement. Classes are full, students are staying. We're seeing strong demand and strong student interest in a lot of our program areas and strong interest for more options. When we talk to students, and I am talking to students every day, both in my teaching role in the second half of my day as overseeing CTE, students want more options. They are hungry for more, which is a good problem to have. The issue is not that students want these, it's how we can provide it, how we can engage with them. So you see on the right there, some CPR dummies that we purchased this year for our health science programs at Crossroads, getting students the chance to work with industry standard training items with Cindy Reynolds, which is a really cool opportunity for students to walk out of those courses with an industry recognized credential and actual skills that they are going to be using in the real world. So those are ones we purchased a new set of those this year. And then kind of general highlight there, sorry, Dan, our career technical student organizations, or CTSOs, are running across multiple program areas, and students have just been wrapping up their first round of regional competitions. So in the last 3 weeks, we've taken 3 different groups for regional competitions. We took a high school group for Skills USA for carpentry down to Snow Isle, which was a really cool, they were building a blueprinted wall and set of stairs that have built off plans. So that was kind of cool. There's about 40 students competing there. The Granite students finished within the top, right around 15th place, so they're kind of middle of the pack. I think our highest was 8th place. We had an FBLA group go to a regional competition, and then I just took a middle school group to a Skills USA competition up in Mount Vernon on Saturday, where they were having to build parachutes for ping pong balls in a cup to try to keep, it was an engineering challenge. That was a lot of fun. So general highlights, really what this shows and what I hope it communicates is we have a really good base to build from. Pun intended, we have a good foundation on which to build for the future. We have a lot of things that we're working on. We have a lot of things that are important to improve continually, but we have strong foundations for what we are doing and how we are doing it. Next slide here. Just in general, our CTE programs support learning and innovation through a couple primary areas, giving students good hands-on experiences, letting them work through problem solving routines and practice, interdisciplinary content we're talking about with educational standards and all these areas within CTE courses where students are engaging with standards across every content area. We have this conversation with kids regularly. These are not math classes, they're not science classes, they are an everything class where every skill that they are developing across their educational careers coming into focus in a career and technical education course, which is, if we can get that, that is significant. Industry partnerships, which we're continually working on, project-based learning, skill development, and career readiness. Those are just some general ways that our CTE programs are supporting learning and innovation. Next slide, Dan. Our CTE programs and teachers, just again, kind of big picture here. Middle school, we have 3 CTE teachers, one shared with the high school. That's Dwayne Johnson, who teaches business and technology, Colleen Mace, who teaches culinary, and myself teaching middle school construction trades. At Crossroads, we have 2 teachers representing 2 program areas. That's Cindy Reynolds in health sciences and Myra Perkins in business and technology. At Granite Falls High School, 6 CTE teachers representing 5 program areas. Anna McGar, who teaches health sciences part of the day. Trudy Sullivan, who teaches business and technology and skilled and technical. Ernie Nehe, who teaches business and technology. Brendan King, teaching construction, skilled and technical trades. And then John Brockman, teaching agriculture education. Across the board with CTE, we've had a lot of new teachers this year, a lot of new programs starting. So as we have been working to do what we do better, we have new teachers starting in new roles, and there's some learning that goes along with that we are working and ensuring that we are on track. So that's kind of an overview of our programs and teachers. The next one here, slide 6, talked a little bit about it already, but our career and technical student organizations and leadership equivalencies. This is where I would talk the whole night about this, because I think this is one of our best chances for growth in the future, and one of the areas where it really distinguishes CTE courses from any other course. When a student takes an elective course, or when they take a course in their day, a CTSO, which is the student-led and student-structured career and technical organizations, these are really what sets a CTE class apart. And this is an area where we are looking to make bigger strides in the future. We're laying some groundwork this year and working with some different organizations. Skills USA particularly is one of the premier CTSOs. That's a national organization, and they are on the upswing. They have been growing significantly. They're trying to grow into middle school, which we are working actively to engage better with. But Skills USA is running at middle school and high school. There's just some pictures from a couple of our Skills USA competitions. FBLA is running middle school, high school, and Crossroads. So there are students engaging with that process for Future Business Leaders of America. And FFA is running at the high school, Future Farmers of America. A teacher can also choose to run what's called a leadership equivalency. If they don't want to do a nationally structured organization, they can do a leadership equivalency, which is the same standards. It's the same, basically the same structure, but more community focused. We do not have active advice on whether one is preferred over the other. CTSOs have their strengths, leadership equivalencies have their strengths, and they both have weaknesses as well. Really, we're trying to find what best serves our students. So we're playing around with some structures and some things that we haven't done before, because we're trying to increase student engagement and rebuild some of these programs on some of these CTSOs back. Leadership equivalencies tend to be with our smaller programs. So with our health sciences program, those are a little smaller at the moment, and then culinary right now, because we have a teacher who's teaching between 2 buildings. I did that last year. It's very hard to run a CTSO at 2 buildings, so we're trying to kind of combine where we can for this year and then figure that out in the future. So CTSOs are a really significant benefit to students. It gives them a great opportunity to try out leadership, to try their skills, to test them regionally, and then potentially qualify for state or nationals, depending on how they do. We are working to add more of those. That will be something that, as we are moving into the future, we're going to be further encouraging that and supporting that. That has been a big thing that in talking to teachers, they have felt a lack of support in their CTSO process, and so we are working to address that to make sure that they have what they need to do that well. Next one here. Dual credit. So dual credit allows a CTE course sequence to be used as a graduation pathway. That requirement, either dual credit or an IRC, which is an industry recognized credential, one of those has to be present for a CTE pathway to fit as a graduation pathway for a student. Our dual credit participation within CTE is lower than we'd like. Dr. Giesland referenced in January 14th superintendent's report that our dual credit participation dropped from 85% in 2024 to 59.4% in 2025. That was a surprise to me. I was quite surprised by that. And I thought in my head, we missed articulations. Like, we must have had a significant drop in what courses we offer. And you can see up there our articulations. So courses we offer where we say we're teaching financial fitness and it equals to financial education at Everett Community College. We dropped 1 course this year. So right now I'm looking into where that decrease has come from and what the reason is behind that decrease. What I will, from an initial look, it seems to be a communication or lack of communication to students about the value and the process. It can be a kind of convoluted process to get into that, signing up for that dual credit and making sure everything is paid. And there's a lot of, I think, barriers to student enrollment in that. If you've looked and talked through dual credit stuff, I feel like the more that I talk to people about it, the more confusing it gets. And it is in I would say, a pretty significant reworking at the moment. So the partners that we work with the Pacific Northwest College Consortium and EVCC and the ESD, there's a lot of conversations happening that we are continuing to look at. So this is something I'll report back on next time I'm here. I don't know when that'll be, but at some point I'll be back and I'll have better information for you about some of this stuff, what we're seeing, why we're seeing it, and how we can address those gaps. Because really for students, it is a pretty easy win if the work they're doing in their high school course can equal college credit. So we just need to make sure we're communicating that better to students as we move forward. Last slide. So future plans. The future of CTE in Granite Falls is really focused right now on stabilizing and strengthening our offerings. That is really what I have been working on as often and as quickly as I can, to just take what we are doing and make sure we're doing it well. Take what we're doing and increasing our standards, take what we're doing and trying to increase engagement with teachers, with students, with staff, getting everybody moving in an area where we're stabilizing and strengthening. And then from there, it's intentional and structured expansion of in-demand programs. So looking at industry needs, looking at local needs, looking at student interest, all of those things combined together to say, where are we going to intentionally start and where are we going to start adding to programs to help benefit our students. The work of this is in developing high quality CTE pathways at every school. So any place we are offering CTE, we are looking and working to make sure that those are what we are determining to be high quality CTE pathways. So this year I've been doing a lot of data gathering, looking at what we're actually doing versus what we say we're doing versus what we are doing well, getting all of that together. And being able, I'll probably present on this at the end of the year, being able to look and say really realistically, like, these are our pathways that are strong. These are our pathways that are developing. These are our pathways that are trending in a direction that we're not satisfied with. And that's ongoing work that's going to require long-term effort and focus. This is not a one-year process. This is not a simple fix. This is going to take a significant amount of effort going forward. Some of those markers of what we would determine to create a high-quality CTE program or high-quality pathway, you see up there. That's active advisory committees with current industry knowledge. It's a really big one. The people that are coming in to help advise what we do, that they are actively and currently engaged in the industry that they are advising. Effective work-based learning, so students get interactions in every CTE course with what it means to be preparing for current technical skills, making sure that those are good. The IRCs, which is industry recognized credentials, dual credit, CTSOs, teacher and advisory engagement in our continual improvement cycle. So that's annual program reviews, really looking honestly at what we do and saying, here's where we're doing well, here's where we're doing poorly, here's how we change it, increasing that engagement, incorporating student voice and really robust industry input. That is a challenge for us in Granite, getting industry input. And that is changing. I mean, we've had some really great industry connections in the last 6 months just that have kind of cropped up because parents are working in industry. We had a connection with a student whose dad works at Boeing, got us reconnected with Boeing Workforce, and we're reactivating our Boeing Workforce kind of their training program, which will mean that as a student goes through our construction trades courses, they will get basically a qualifier for an entry-level job at Boeing that they can get with instructor recommendation without having to interview. They can go straight to these programs. And that's the first step. That's the crack. That's the nudging of the door. So we can add these as we are working and moving forward. So industry input is changing, but we're working on that actively. The other couple things there, working to improve student experiences and outcomes within our CTE courses is very important. Looking at what students experience every single day when they're in a CTE course and focusing on that as top priority. What are they experiencing bell to bell, and how is that transitioning, and how is that leading to significant skills? So we're looking at that. And then the last one there, we're committed to supporting teachers in reaching what is the highest goal, which is providing high quality, industry informed instruction and meaningful learning experiences for students. And that is an ongoing, continual effort thing that we are going to be emphasizing for the foreseeable future. Questions?
Just a few. So when you talked about the decrease in participation, I'll say that as a mom, I think you're right. I think there's some sort of disconnect between awareness and opportunity, and like you mentioned, all the different things you have to sign up for in order to make it actually count for dual credit. I know that as a parent, unfortunately, we did miss like something with EVCC. So I think you're onto something. I think you're right. Go with your gut on that, because I didn't exactly know. But when you were talking about signing up for the classes and the barriers, some sort of information for both Crossroads students and parents and the high school students and parents, and even don't forget about the middle school, because those 8th graders are going to be at the high school next year, right? And you're going to hear me beat the drum of making sure we're building that bridge from the schools across, right? But what do we need to do? How do we sign up? I don't know what is going to be offered next year. Maybe you don't know either, but we're working on that. So over communicate what you need from us as parents and school board members, but what can we be telling the community how do we get because my kid is interested in video games and Switch and VR. Like he's not thinking about when I grow up what I want to be, unless it's maybe, I don't know. We asked that question, but opportunities, I don't know. It's different for this generation. So I'm not going to guess, but is it still you have to have the 3 classes to get to graduation?
For CTE?
Yeah.
It's 2.
It's just 2?
Yeah, so it's a progression of courses. It used to be exploratory, preparatory, and they had to be in that sequence. Now it's just 2 courses, usually in sequence with either an IRC or dual credit.
Okay.
They check those boxes and we have that pathway
So
cleared
even
up.
more reason we need the dual credit is because, you know, like mom misses a deadline at Everett Community College because, well, I didn't know there was a deadline at Everett Community College that needed to be met. But anyway, okay. Also, please put Tina Beach on your list, because I've always been on the CTE advisory committee and somehow I dropped off. But I work in cybersecurity. I think that qualifies me to continue on the committee. So I'd love to be part of it. And I also think that both where Peter and I work, I think that there's opportunities for students to get, I don't know if it's free with AWS, but I know that there's some training opportunities for students or cloud security certifications at competing major technical companies in the area.
Yeah. Well, and even just like on the FBLA side, business side of the house, like I'd be curious to see, because right when you're looking at industry expertise, just because even though I work within tech, I'm sure many people look at me and say like, oh, you're so technical. The people I work with are technical. I'm on the business side. I'm happy to always talk through the business side, provide guidance on the business side. So yeah, I mean, anything from that front, and even how nobody grows up, I think, saying that I've always wanted to be in tech sales. I don't think that's pretty far below fireman. But because of that, though, also it's one of the roles where nobody knows that it's an option. Nobody knows how to get into it, what sort of training that you would need? What sort of like, what works? And there's, I will say, I've been part of the senior interviews for several years, and there are young individuals that are coming through where I look and I just say, you have all of the soft skills that are like, I'm not going to say not teachable, but extremely difficult to teach. And there's so much potential there for you in a role like I have, that I just think there needs to be more education around that. So I think there's some opportunity to partner there.
So are you saying add Director Ledoux to the list as well?
Yeah. I mean, just so, I mean,
Look at me just putting you aside,
absolutely
sign me up right
raise
after
my
me.
hand. Any other comments, questions?
I'm glad that you got back in with the Boeing workforce situation.
Yeah.
Yes,
Nicely
me
done.
too. That's,
Yeah. And the good thing about that is, as we look long-term at program expansion, having those connections with that group, that was the conversation we we're having when they were at the high school last week. We were talking about what we were proposing and thinking for the future. We're already having conversations about how, as we look at offerings, how that can align with what they do and what they need to check those boxes. So developing those partnerships.
Is it all metal work that it needs to happen at our high school?
There's definitely a part of it that is more manufacturing based than what we currently offer. The construction trades part will check a box in one assembler mechanic type job.
Yep.
If we want to go higher up, we would have to expand offerings in some of those areas. And that is areas that we are looking at long-term. As we look at spaces, as we look at programs, as we look at some of those.
I think Snow Isle does some of those other ones too.
Yeah, Snow Isle does a lot. So there are options locally. Trying to figure out what we can do on our campus.
Well, and if nothing else too, the dual credit, because correct me if I'm wrong, but so 1 year for us equates to 5 credit hours at a college level, right?
Yeah, I'd have to look at the exact.
Because typically when you're in a college, right, a full class will be 5 credits typically. And I mean, even if you look at the going rates for EVCC for Skagit, I mean, a full 15 credit workload, I think is like $2,400 a quarter now or something like that. So, I mean, you're like $750 for every time that you're saving from future educational expenses. So take advantage of it where you can. I know there's a lot of that opportunity out there. So I'm sure that I know I've got a kid that's going into college and stuff too. And so anywhere that you can preemptively get ahead of that stuff is welcomed. So, okay, anything else? All right, thank you. Okay, item 4A, items from the floor. So I'm going to also use this time to remind like how to engage with the board. So we have items from the floor, which is part of our board agenda. Submissions need to be made before 3 p.m. on the day of. We have one submission for today for it to be discussed or at least presented within the board setting. Also just engaging with the board. All of our emails are on the website. So you can reach out to us. And if you happen to come to a board meeting and you're not on the items for the floor or something like that, we're always typically around too. I'm not going to speak for everybody, but I'll typically hang around and chat with anybody that's here over as well. So just a little reminder there. So we do have one item here. It was submitted via email. So I'm basically going to read this. This was submitted by an individual. So I will read what they submitted. Typically within these discussions or items that are brought from the community are for the board's knowledge. And then we take that information and we can go back and we tie it into our thinking, our discussions and everything like that. So since this was a submission, I'll read this out loud and go through this. So this submission was from Jordan Bond in Granite Falls. Relationship to the district is a parent, community member, taxpayer. And then the reason, request for action is district employees disregard of code of conduct and revised codes of Washington. So thank you for allowing my submission. I want to begin with a simple question. If our schools cannot model honesty and compliance to laws, how can we expect our children or our students enrolled in the district to value it? Your own school board code of ethics uphold the trust of the public and ensure accountability for the proper stewardship of resources and the integrity of operations. For those of you who don't know me, you may think I am critical of the school district. I'm only critical when the district's activities are not creating an environment that is conducive to learning, from bullying to the continued reports expired milk events served in our district's facilities to students. Events like these appear to be increasing in frequency in Granite Falls schools. I'm concerned that the school is failing to create an environment that is conducive to learning and is readily identifiable by the OSPI scorecard, albeit the submission today is because of your staff. Item number 1, uphold the trust of the public. Several people employed by the district knowingly spread information when soliciting at a professional capacity related to the school's levy recently voted on. District employees stating that the levy is existing was not a whole truth. When confronted with objective evidence, complete deflection and refusal to acknowledge. The way I and many people in the community feel that was deliberate deception and is a breach of trust and should lead to disciplinary action for the staff who started, spread, and promoted misinformation to the public and students. Item 2, ensure accountability for the proper stewardship of resources and the integrity of operations. At the district, it appears you have a member of your staff openly promoting political activism in a professional capacity. I sent an email to Dr. Gieslin and then the remainder of the school board. To the 3 of you, thank you for your responses. For one of you, I did provide objective evidence via email. I would like to highlight a person specifically who identified promotion of a political walkout who, to my understanding, is employed by the district. The statement with "we all support it" was also reinforced by the persons in the district by announcing it's time for a walkout for kids to leave class. Those actions are not consistent with a child-led walkout. If it was student-led, why would staff prompt kids to leave? With just these 2 recent events, I'm requesting that the district take action to hold people accountable for failure to comply with the district's own policy and state laws in regards to dissemination of false information and openly promoting political activism in a professional capacity. I am also submitting 3 items for the board's review. 1, fact sheet of core legal and policy areas for falsehoods. 2, core legal and policy areas for district employees promoting a school walkout. And 3, an image of a Granite Falls, Washington community page public post. Thank you for your attention to these issues and your continued commitment to upholding the higher standards of public schools. Jordan Bond. So want to appreciate the submission of the public comment. As I mentioned, we take this in. We'll have discussion on this as well too, or just thoughts on it. But really appreciate the submission, Jordan. And we will move on to item 5, which is unfinished. Oh,
Did I make a motion that we move?
I was going to do that in 6 once we get to 6.
Okay. I didn't know, I didn't
Oh, yeah.
see back. So
Oh, sorry,
I thought I had to.
Yep.
All right.
Okay. So item 5, unfinished business. We have none. So item 6, actually, yeah, if you would like to make a motion.
I would like to make a motion that we move the accounts payable report out of the consent agenda for new business. Is that where we put it, I guess?
Yes.
Yeah, new business.
Okay.
Because I appear in the accounts payable report and I need to be able to abstain.
Okay. I will second. Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Okay. So we will move accounts payable into new business as item 6D, and we will just address that separately. Okay. Item 6A, supplemental staffing provider agreement, Aya Healthcare. Discussion, or if I know, Dana, I don't want to make you talk too much tonight because but any, do you want to give the quick and?
Yes, I'll let Rachel. It's somebody we've done business with before. It's when we can't fill hard to fill positions, but
Okay.
Anything else, Rachel, for special
This
education
was an
services?
agency that we've gone through before, occupational therapists, nurses, when we're not able to fill those directly. This is their overall contract, which we didn't have on file since we recently hired someone from their company. We hadn't in the past, at least the past year.
Any discussions? No? Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the supplemental staffing provider agreement, Aya Healthcare.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Okay, item 6B, new policy reading 2106 program compliance.
The recommendation from Mazda. Emily, anything else on that?
No real changes, just a little bit of update. This is part of the work that we do, so it's just assuring that we're providing instruction and safe facilities and security to all of our students. No major changes, just the update from last time.
Any questions, comments?
No.
No?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. I'd like to propose that we approve new policy reading 2106 or program compliance.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and then 6C, updated policy read 2107P, career and technical education.
Again, just an update of WASA policy. Actually, the only change is the final line of the policy itself. So just so you know, it's absolutely verbatim what we currently have in our Granite Falls School Board policy. Just the final line is the updated line.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay.
All good.
Cool. Then I'd like to make a motion that we approve the updated policy read 2107P, career and technical education.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. And then the newly formed 6D, accounts payable. Any discussion?
I appear in it, so I'd like to abstain.
Okay.
No, it's pretty straightforward.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any questions? No? And I'd like to make a motion that we approve accounts payable.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So we have 4 ayes, 1 abstain.
Yes.
Okay, now 7, the consent agenda. Any discussion on the consent agenda?
I would just say I appreciated seeing the pathway change or request for Crossroads and for those students. I appreciate that.
Anything else? Okay, no discussion. Then the consent agenda passes with unanimous consent. With that, the time is 6:00.